Had a nice day off yesterday. Probably came at the perfect time. Just get a little bit fresh. Had a good indoor practice for our first time. I don't know if it rained or we had any lightning or not, but feel good with where we are after 12. Obviously, we got a big evening Sunday at Acrisure Stadium, so I'm looking forward to that. I think the kids are too. Getting in there, for a night game. I don't think we've ever had a night scrimmage at Acrisure, so that'd be fun to get into. And then we also tomorrow have a spiders practice. You guys won't be around, I'm assuming, but we have I guess we have a spiders practice tomorrow. I don't know if you guys come around or not on Saturday for this same thing. But tomorrow evening we'll go to the Steelers game. I had dinner last night, and all of a sudden the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kalijah Kancey and Shavasi Dennis come strolling in. I didn't even know they were going to be at the same place we were, so it was great to see them. It was about 15 or 20 of the Buccaneers go to dinner there. Then the other quick note, we had Deion Lewis has been here for the last couple of days. He'll be here for a few more days. Once he gets into coaching, he's been fun, obviously a great football player, and you guys don't know about who he is, but he'll be out there. You'll see him out there today too, so fired up to have him on campus. So questions?
As you head into the final full week of camp, what position battles stick out most in your mind that are still not settled?
God, man, there's a lot of them. I mean, because when you talk position battles, it's not just about who that starter is, but like for example, Desmond Reed, like we know he's a starter, right? I mean, there's no position battle there, but like who's going to be that backup? I mean, I think Jules has done a great job of saying, hey, I'm that guy. I mean, he's had a really good knock on wood. I mean, he's just really been good. So there's those battles for that backup spot. And we'll find out a lot when it comes to Sunday night, because then we'll start, getting a little bit more prepared towards game. But I would say, other positions just battling for. I mean, that corner spot's a constant battle out there. I mean, I think we've got really good players. It's going to come down to who's making plays. It's a battle at tight end. I mean, Jake Overman, is really good at tight end, but like Malachi, he had a heck of a day the other day indoors. I think you guys may have talked to him after practice. He's a great kid, and you guys found out about the herd and all that stuff. But I'm trying to think where else here. O-line, with that guard position, right? Still waiting to see what happens there. But I tell you what, Coretta made a move in the last couple of days. I mean, he's a backup center. But we started getting him a couple reps at the guard just to, so we're not springing it on him. But he's done a nice job in there. Where, he might be that next guard, and so it makes us a lot stronger knowing who those guys are. But that gives those other guys competition at that spot.
How many other than Coretta, is there in Shep Turk? Is there anyone else snapping right now?
Yeah, Shep Turk, and then and obviously Keith. Keith is snapping as well. So we'll be okay there.
Find that balance between getting guys work at positions that they might eventually be a backup at some point versus working them at the primary position.
Yeah, I like to do it, and that's kind of why I brought it up. Like it's like wholesale change, or just give him a couple reps in there. I mean, keep Ryan developing at that center spot, because he's still a young guy there. But you don't have to put him in. You don't have to say, hey, for the day you're going here. Just move over for 2 plays, get him back to center. Move over for 2 plays, get him back over. So to me, instead of just like, oh, hey, the whole day you're there, and all of a sudden you feel like, what are we doing here? So, and again, I think it worked out really good.
Are things still trending towards Dez returning punts full time, and how are things trending at kick return as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's a day by day, that's a week by week decision. We know he can go back there, it's easy. Like, he catches them all. Kenny Johnson's back there, Blue's back there. I feel comfortable with all of them back there. But it depends on what's the game plan that week, how many carries are we going to get, how many times we're going to throw the ball, what's the matchup there, can we afford to put him back there, how many touches are we going to get Dez, okay, to get him through a 12-game season. So those are things that are all just kind of week by week, but he can be that guy. I mean, it's easy, punt or kickoff territory. You're okay, maybe.
You brought in Jalen Williams to kind of help bolster depth at the running back position. We haven't really talked much about him, but has he done anything notable?
He's done a nice job. What I see on videotape is what I see out there. I mean, he's made some people miss. He's had some big plays. So he's still getting in shape. He petitioned to get another year. I think he sat around for a while. He went with Stack all summer. He got here, got off the bus and he's still working to get himself in football condition. Especially the type of condition that we expect him to be here at Pitt.
On the matter of Dez and punts, I know on media day talking to Dez and
Jacob Bronowski, they both felt like there are things they're going to be able to do this year to get even more out of the punt return game. I mean, maybe schematic, maybe just Des being more comfortable with it. Do you see it being more of a threat this year?
I see every part of our football team being more of a threat. Now, again, I think it's year 2 special teams wise. It's year 2 offensively. Defensively, we're in year whatever, year 11. To be honest with you, regardless of who was there as a coordinator, we've had 2 there, but we're in year 11 of our defense and what we developed it that way. So the year 2 is going to be much better. I just see more like watching our guys go through what we call pods and special teams, and you guys probably get bored to death watching special teams early in practice, but like the things we're doing special teams wise, I love. Okay, the transferable skills, the whole deal. That's why we're going to be more exciting. It's not that Des got faster, quicker, and that we've got this guru scheme. It's just the fundamentals that go into that, and I think that's the key, Chris.
Overall, who are some of the players that have climbed the depth chart so far?
Give me a depth chart out here. I mean, it's hard to say. Like Josh Guerriere, I mentioned the other day, I've pretty much given you an update of guys that are popping in there. I mean, Josh Guerriere, the corner's still a battle out there, not Rashad battle. It's a battle. Linebackers looking for more depth there. We know who those guys are up front. That first group is pretty elite. Those O-line, we're working on guys there, but like climbing the depth chart, like I said, Justin Holmes and Malachi at tight end, receivers were still, I'd say probably one of the biggest climbers has been Zion Fowler. Now he's going to go out and block somebody, so I'll just call him out in the media, just call it out. Like he does a good job catching the ball down the field, but we want him to be a little bit tougher and have that attitude that I'm going to go block somebody too, because good receivers do both. Okay, if you're just going to be a pass receiver, you probably won't play for us. So if he learns how to block, he's going to make a climb, and I think he's going to make some plays.
You mentioned Joel's Goff as kind of that guy raising his hand for that number 2 spot. Is anyone chomping at the bit right behind him, giving him pressure?
Yeah, we know Boosie will. Again, Boosie's, we're being careful with him as we get through camp, but like Boosie's going to be special, and we brought him back a little bit too early, so we're just being very careful with him, because I know that dude is, we already saw it in the spring. Like if he was a true freshman, I'd have no idea. He's not. He came here for spring ball, so that's the beauty of having guys come in mid-year, is you have an idea of where they are. I got a pretty good idea that when Boosie comes back, him and Joels are still going to fight.
What led to the change for Jesse Anderson to take some reps at wide receiver?
He kind of wasn't in that top 4, so he wasn't really in that mix. And just talking to him, like give him a shot over there. And again, he's got great hands that he can run. And again, that's one. We moved Zollers also to linebacker as well, just to see what he's got. He's 225 pounds. I think he got a girlfriend there during the summer. He's trying to look smooth and sleek, so he kind of trimmed down a little bit. He's 225 pounds, and I think he's had a couple good days, but he's got a lot to learn. Jesse's got a lot to learn. When you make those moves after 10 or 12 days, they aren't easy, but they can always go back to the original spot. That's the good thing. They've got enough knowledge of what they're doing that it's just a experiment. And I told Jesse he's got till Sunday to see what he's got. You better learn real quick, because you can't. These guys have been working on playing that position, really linebacker or receiver for a long time. So, who knows? It might be mid-year before they really get on the field. We can trust them to play in those spots.
You're pretty deep into training camp now. There's always going to be bumps and bruises and things like that. That's part of the whole deal. But you always say that you would announce if there's any season-ending injuries. Have you lost anybody for the season at this point?
We'll talk more about that. I think it's practice 13 today. Next week I'll give you an update when I have a clear idea, from our trainer, what it looks like. But we'll give you that and get through the scrimmage this weekend as well. So rather have it all in one pile as opposed to scattering them out there on the ground. What else you got, Jerry? Jerry, love you out there if you're listening. He must be bored to death sitting on the couch. His wife's getting after him.
Well, I had to do it without him here. Somebody's got to carry that, right?
That's right.
Just on your corners real quick, I was curious because you talked about him earlier. How many guys do you feel like you have right now? You Battle and Lynham coming back, but
Battle Lynham, Sean Lee's been really good. I'm forgetting someone that's in front of Sean Lee, I think. Who else we got there?
Harrison.
Yeah, Drip has been outstanding. So Drip would be that one that I said was in front of him. Drip, Sean Lee, Sean Murray. There's like, a year ago, it's like, oh man, if he's out, what are we going to do? This year, it's like, man, he's going to get an opportunity. Like, I'm excited to see what Sean Murray can do in a game. He's had some nice plays out there. It comes down to consistency, right? Like, some of those younger guys in that room, even Zion Ferguson has shown spurts of like, look who I am. So, You know, it's a consistency that those guys play with out there. You can't just be, what a great play. The next play, it's like, what are you doing? And that's, you know, you got to play at a high level. And again, the best players I've been around are guys that are consistent. I mean, Servassier Dennis, Kalijah Cansey, those guys are consistent. James Conner was the same guy every day. All great players are consistent because you can trust them, and they go do it every day in practice, every day in games. And, you know, that's what we're looking for, is more consistency there. And that comes with time. I'm sure James Conner wasn't consistent when he was a baby, you know, before I got here. But so that's what we're looking for.
With Cruz having the ball skills that he does, how much more dynamic can that make the back end of your defense?
You say Chris who?
Cruz Brookins.
Oh, Cruz.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see. You got to catch him, right? I mean, he's shown the ability. Again, I'm looking for that consistency because he was a little bit up and down as a season as a baby last year. You know, true freshman, I believe. But you know, he's been special back there. He's a playmaker, and he will strike you too. He's just a little bit different than Donovan. He's a little bit more twitchier. I hope he's as good a tackler and football player as Donovan McMillan consistently, because Donovan was a consistent guy. And we're going to say, like, you know, where was Donovan on that play? Donovan was there all the time, and I think Cruz will be the same guy.
In the past, we've kind of heard, since you brought up Kalijah and Servassier, I kind of felt like before this, you know, the season, we kind of had an inkling, or, you know, you guys, the coaches had given us all kind of like a little peek of Kalijah's going to be special, like Jordan Addison's going to have to be special, like, you know, Servassier is going to have a special year. And
Who's going to be special?
Who's going to be special?
Oh, man. Kyle Lewis is special. Des Reed is special. You know, I think Ryan Baer can be real special. I mean, again, you know, forgetting the ages. I mean, you look at those, you know, matter of fact, I was sitting with our Nike guy there, Mike Newsom from Nike, out here checking things out today. But, you know, there's a lot of guys that can be special. And it's a process. You got to trust the process. You know, a year ago, you might not, I mean, you know, who thought a year ago after what Kyle Lewis did in 2024, he was going to be special. But, like, you know, your consistent play, all the off-season work is there. I mean, Cruz Brookins going to be special. I mean, there's, you know, Francis Brew's going to be special. He's a baby, though. You know, like, what are we talking about? Like, senior special? I mean, you got Des Reed, you got Kyle Lewis, who, you know, has got another year, but we'll find out if he's a first-rounder. Just like Kalijah, I'm going to tell him he's got to move on. But we got a lot of special.
Good.
But after the season, we'll really find out who's special, right? Then we'll know for sure.